This is how you should start a story. Writers of gacha and non-gacha games should be taking notes. Today's video is sponsored by Sword of Convallaria, but instead of doing a lore summary like I normally do for sponsored content, I decided to do something different in order to really showcase what I ended up loving so much about this game's lore and do it justice. I was honestly surprised with how fast I was hooked into the main story. So instead of making a typical lore summary video, I decided to study Sword of Convallaria and the narrative tactics it uses to tell its lore. These are valuable story writing tactics that other gacha games don't use, but should use in my opinion. Now if you're into turn-based nostalgic JRPGs, then Sword of Convallaria would be right up your alley. Just be mindful that this video will contain spoilers for the first chapter of the story. The story starts with you in a starry void. Nothingness surrounds you as you debate the ambiguous state of your consciousness. You select your appearance, then you materialize in the physical world. You wake up in a prison cell unaware of your past and how you even ended up in this situation. And I know what you're thinking. How exactly is this different from how other JRPGs start? Just hear me out, okay? Because it gets really good from this point on. An unlucky merchant gets thrown into your cell, so now you have a roommate. There's a very short dialogue sequence that follows, and this is where Sword of Convallaria's storytelling capabilities really shine through. Without any over-explanations and without exhaustive dialogue, we're able to already extract the initial plot. This NPC's name is the King's Army Defector Leader. The government of Waverun City is about to be overthrown by rebels. This rebellion has a plan to capture and kill those who show allegiance to the tyrant king of the country of Iria. The princess is about to make a speech wherein these rebels will commit mass murder on the gathering crowd. Your new cellmate is unfortunately killed by the rebels, and this is where you as the player experience your first battle. A strong-looking lady named Raya even comes to your aid. It's here you're probably thinking, oh cool, this is the tutorial phase. I get to fight my first fight and I get my first free unit on my team. Aside from Raya, you also recruit Mytha and Feikal, and the game introduces you to its base mechanics and exposes you to different unit types. All typical tutorial stuff. But then, Sword of Convallaria unceremoniously pulls the rug from underneath you. Seriously, I was gagged with what happened next. As you escape the prison with your newly acquired tutorial units, Rauya, the strong-looking lady who rescued you, dies. Right in front of you. I thought, okay, it's just a plot thing. She's probably gonna get captured, we're gonna save her. No. She legit just dies right in front of you. And I actually wasn't expecting this 5 minutes into the game. Tutorial units aren't supposed to die. That's what I thought. But see, this is where I think Sword of Convallaria really shines with its story. Not only does it do a great job of not over-explaining and not overloading dialogue with exposition, it subverts your expectations and keeps you genuinely asking how, what, when, where, why as you play. It makes you already have a care about the story. I was actually really sad when Raya died because she was one of the stronger units you start off with. When you escape the prison, rebels have completely taken over the city. Everything is in total chaos. You get this sweet pep talk from Mytha and Feikal about how you all should fight back so the death of their leader Raya won't be in vain. And then, you all die. No, seriously. As you all were trying to flee the city from the king's army and the rebels, you all end up dying. The war that was stirred up maliciously consumed everything, including your life. In less than 10 minutes into this game, I already knew I was gonna love it. Sword of Convallaria again does a great job of not over-explaining. Context clues and NPC names alone are already enough for you to extract the main details of the story. Playing through the story makes me feel like I'm watching a good series. It keeps me wanting that next episode. You know just enough information to understand clearly what's happening and want more of it. Again, as you can see, it does a great job of subverting your expectations from a typical RPG game. I didn't expect at all for everyone to die less than 10 minutes into the story. The game even rubs it in. That is all the world had in store for you. Your destiny. Your destiny was literally to just spawn and die. But in this void, you find the resolve to challenge his destiny. In fact, the whole world's destiny. This is something I loved already with this game. The stakes are so high right off the bat. If I have this chance to change fate, then the weight of my decisions in the present surely have to matter, right? And satisfyingly, they do, which you'll see in just a sec. The remains of your consciousness wakes up in the Sea of Chaos. It's an in-between spiritual realm where those with unfulfilled wishes seem to end up in. Your guide is a mysterious cat who encourages you to pursue your wish to change the fate of the world you unfortunately ended up in. The first chapter of the story is introduced via a tarot card, the Upright Fool card. This is where I crack my lore knuckles. The Fool card is numbered 0, which is considered to be a number of infinite potential. The Fool is a blank slate with no personality and whose journey will later shape his character, which is such a cool way to introduce the story. Tarot is also really uniquely integrated with the game's summoning system. Again, this game is a gacha game. Luckily, you're not alone in this journey, since Mytha has appeared in the Sea of Chaos as well. Wishes can be granted by a device known as the Astrarium. You and your party are tasked with retrieving tarot cards scattered throughout the Sea of Chaos in order to unlock the ability to change destiny. This is where things get super cool. Here is the summarized plot. The story takes place in the continent of Rodinia. Within it is a small country named Iria, which possesses an abundance of luxite, precious minerals imbued with magical properties. This gold mine of luxite has caused other nations in Rodinia to be extremely envious, escalating conflict and power struggles throughout the continent. The beginning of the end started with the riots you witnessed in Wave Run City. Upon unlocking the Spiral of Destiny story mode, you now have the ability to play through the story and change your decisions, thereby changing fate. Your decisions affect which story path you end up taking in the future. Are you into militaristic stuff, and do you want to side with the Union of the Night States? Or the Kingdom of Iria and be against the rebels you fought in the beginning? Or perhaps you're more of the religious type and you'd rather be part of the Papal States of Rodinia? Or maybe the city life isn't for you and you're more of a mountain or wilderness kind of person. If so, you can stay with the Vilder tribes. Or you can stay in the tutorial team, and yes, you can go back in time and finally save Raya, who you later learn is the leader of the mercenary group, the Sword of Convallaria. And before you think about making different accounts or save files for each story path you want to pursue, you don't have to. Each story path or branch can be explored in your own time on the same account. There's even a place where you can rewatch cutscenes. Quests can be repeated to allow you to make different choices and unlock new story branches. Choose carefully though, because characters can die in these story paths as well. Or, you know, unless you intentionally wanted a character to die. In that case, c'est la vie. So here's the final takeaway. More recently, a lot of gacha games overly use exposition-based storytelling where a lot of the dialogue is just confusing world-building jargon. Obviously, absorbing the story is easier on the player when terms are introduced naturally, and you don't need an encyclopedia to decipher what a character's saying. Speaking of natural, the story doesn't make you do an Easter egg hunt for more information. It reveals itself during natural exploration and your traversal through the story paths. Although Sword of Convallaria's story mostly contains a time-traveling trope, it does it in a really refreshing way that promotes curiosity for different story possibilities and in a way that doesn't feel like a cop-out for the plot. These are simple but effective tactics I'd like to see more of in gacha games. Thank you so much, Sword of Convallaria, for sponsoring today's video, and it's honestly thanks to this opportunity that I ended up finding out and falling in love with the game. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be grinding for Beryl's limited time skin. Check out Sword of Convallaria for yourself by using the link in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. I'm your Leafy Lore Sheer Minsliff, and I read the Sword of Convallaria lore for you so that you don't have to.
Missy